heart of the Utah desert, busted-up tanks are coming back to life. During the Second World War, the M18 Hellcat was the fastest fighting machine on tracks. Without breaking a sweat, it could leave everything behind in a cloud of dust. This Hellcat is being rescued from history's junkyard for a surprise reunion with the same commander who drove it over 60 years ago. Lightning fast, almost able to come out of nowhere. This is the M18 Hellcat. During World War II, nothing was more nimble on the battlefield. If you saw one coming, it was already too late.
I'll tell you what's so cool about the Hellcat. It's like running around in a powerboat. You can fishtail the thing, you can run it around in figure eights, and it just goes faster and faster, and you're throwing up dirt, and you're throwing a big cloud of dust, and it's like a sports car, and it's a real smooth ride. You can go over dips and bumps. It's the ultimate all-terrain vehicle.
The M18 Hellcat is just one of almost 200 pieces at the Carl Smith Collection in Twilla, Utah, not far from Salt Lake City. Businessman Carl Smith is the man and the money behind the operation. Carl is a big fan of tanks. He's a huge fan of war veterans. But he's not a fan of being in front of the camera. But you're welcome to walk through what he calls his sandbox. Battle-scarred tanks don't come back to life on their own. They need a dedicated crew, radical surgery, and serious attention to detail. To make this happen, Carl has pulled together an amazing team. The man in charge of the metal makeovers is Roger Condren. He's a 30-year veteran of the restoration scene.
I take something that's bent, broken, destroyed, clean it up, fix it up, remanufacture it, and bring it back to what it was or what it would have been.
Whenever he needs backup, Roger pulls in a first-class crew. Greg Lloyd worked for over 20 years in a steel plant. At the tank workshop, his nickname is Goose.
Oh, yeah. A lot of places where I go, the folks will ask me, they say, well, what is it that you do for a living? And I say, well, I restore World War II vehicles. And they kind of look at me like, that's a cool job. And boy, I'd like to have your job.
Randy Killen has created special effects magic for classic films like Jaws, Blade Runner, and Titanic. Building scale models in Hollywood was the perfect training ground for rebuilding 40-ton tanks.
There's all kinds of things in movies that don't really exist in real life, so you have to come up with some kind of creative solution to something that doesn't really exist.
Another key part of the tank crew is writer-historian Jeffrey Panos.
These guys are very knowledgeable, but when I'm needed, I come in and I research for them, and I find the various details about the vehicles, their historical past, and any kind of nuances they want to know about. So I'm the pet historian.
And the historian has made an incredible find. Using this photograph, Jeff was able to match the serial numbers on this M18 Hellcat with the serial numbers on a Hellcat in Carl Smith's collection. And to top it off, Jeff has actually found the tank commander who drove this very same Hellcat.
This tank was 60 years ago in Europe. It came back to the U.S., was rebuilt, was sent back to Bosnia, came back to the U.S. We purchased it, came to Salt Lake, and there is a veteran here in Salt Lake that had a picture of this tank.
There were 1,847 of these Hellcats made with the gun on it. And so it was 1 out of 1,847 Vegas odds that this could have been his Hellcat. And we believe it is, and we've been matching the serial numbers, and we think we've matched them.
And almost too good to be true, the veteran is living down the highway in Salt Lake City. In a few days, Carl and his tank crew are going to reunite the commander with his Hellcat at a Victory Day party for veterans. This means Roger has got a big job on his hands. In the next few days, he's got to take this Hellcat and get it whipped into shape. Battle ready for a veteran who hasn't seen it in 60 years.
Our Hellcat here, basically all I've really done to it in the past was we sandblasted it and painted it to make it look good, so it looked okay, while it was sitting in line. For our party that we're going to be putting on for the vets, we need to get it running, spruced up, cleaned up inside, painted. We have to go through the engine and get the turret pulled off, make sure everything operates and works.
The M18 Hellcat was not born by chance. It was designed in the heat of battle to face off against a deadly enemy. Europe, 1940. Germany unleashed the most advanced mechanized force the world had ever seen. This was the Blitzkrieg, brutal lightning strikes across Europe that overwhelmed everything in their path. The U.S. Army needed something to knock out this rolling thunder. So they created the M18 Hellcat. Thanks to its light armor and lightweight radial aircraft engine,